Dale Evans lived a life that glowed with music, faith, and the image of a perfect romance alongside Roy Rogers, the cowboy legend adored by millions. But behind the rhinestones and Hollywood shine, her story was far more complicated, a tale marked by secrets, heartbreak, and the weight of regrets she carried for decades. In her final years, when she could no longer hide behind the image of the Queen of the West, Dale began to speak honestly about the struggles that had shaped her. Before she was Dale Evans, she was Frances Octavia Smith, born on October 31st, 1912, in Uvalde, Texas. Her childhood was unstable, and she grew up partly under the care of her uncle in Arkansas. Forced to grow up quickly, she made choices that would alter her life forever. At just 14 years old, she eloped with Thomas F. Fox, and by 15, she was a mother to her son, Tommy. But the marriage collapsed within a year, leaving her a divorced teenage mother in Memphis. Struggling to survive, she turned to music, performing at local radio stations to support herself and her child. The late 1920s were unforgiving. Dale faced rejection, financial insecurity, and the stigma of being a young single mother. By 1929, her divorce was finalized, and she remarried, though that relationship too would eventually fall apart. Her turning point came when a radio station manager suggested a new stage name. Frances Octavia Smith became Dale Evans, a crisp, memorable name that opened doors in entertainment. Soon, she signed with 20th Century Fox, and Hollywood began crafting her image as a glamorous Western star. But the studio demanded sacrifices. In a painful deception, Dale was forced to hide the truth about her son, claiming he was her younger brother to preserve her wholesome public image. It was a lie that haunted her for years, one of many burdens she would carry privately while smiling for the cameras. Dale's personal life remained turbulent as she sought stability through marriage. By the mid-1930s, she had endured multiple failed unions, including a strained relationship with pianist Robert Dale Butts. Yet her career was rising. She became a featured singer on national radio shows and appeared in films, her smooth voice making her a natural star. Then, in 1944, she was cast opposite Roy Rogers in The Cowboy and the Senorita. The chemistry between them was undeniable. Both were married at the time, but fate soon brought them together. After the tragic death of Roy's wife Arlene in 1946, Dale became his confidant during his grief. By the end of 1947, Roy proposed, and they married on New Year's Eve at the Flying L Ranch. It was Dale's fourth marriage and Roy's third, but this time the bond endured. Dale embraced Roy's children as her own, and for the first time, she could openly acknowledge Tommy as her son, no longer forced to maintain the studio's lie. Their blended family grew with adoptions, and in 1950, Dale gave birth to their only biological child together, Robin Elizabeth. But Robin was born with Down syndrome, and in an era when such conditions were often hidden, Dale and Roy faced immense pressure to keep her out of the public eye. Instead, they chose love and acceptance. Tragically, Robin died just before her second birthday in 1952. The loss devastated Dale, but she found healing through writing. Her book, Angel Unaware, written from Robin's perspective in heaven, touched countless parents across the country and became a groundbreaking call for compassion toward children with disabilities. Dale often said she believed Robin's short life was meant to change hearts, and in many ways, it did. Through the 1950s, Dale and Roy soared to the peak of their fame. Their films, television shows, and music made them household names. Their song Happy Trails became a symbol of optimism for generations. At home, their family grew even larger through adoption, bringing together children of different backgrounds under one roof. But tragedy struck again in 1964 when their adopted daughter Debbie was killed in a church bus accident. The loss reopened old wounds, and Dale admitted it was one of the darkest moments of her life. The family relocated to Apple Valley, California, seeking peace, but Dale carried the sorrow with her always. During the 1960s, Dale grew more outspoken about her faith, becoming a prominent advocate for Christianity and conservative values. She called for school prayer, campaigned for political causes, and wrote books offering hope to grieving families. But behind the image of faith and resilience, her marriage was not without strain. Dale later revealed that Roy, while beloved to fans, was a strict disciplinarian at home, and she often felt lonely during his long absences. Her greatest regret, however, remained the lie forced upon her in her early career, presenting her son as her brother for over a decade. Even after the truth was revealed, she admitted the deception haunted her for life. Still, Dale's strength lay in her honesty. She chose to transform pain into purpose, writing more than a dozen books and using her own heartbreak to comfort others. She never stopped honoring Roy publicly, acknowledging both their love and their challenges. Their marriage lasted over 50 years, a partnership built not on perfection but endurance. By the 1990s, time had caught up with the cowboy and his queen. Roy's health declined, and Dale remained by his side until his death in 1998. For Dale, the loss was crushing. She was no longer part of the duo that had defined her life. In her final years, she spoke more candidly than ever, reflecting on her regrets, her loneliness, and her secrets. She admitted the weight of pretending Tommy was her brother, the hidden pain of her marriage, and the heartbreak of losing multiple children. Her daughter Dodie later said, "Mom wasn't afraid to reveal the truth. She believed in sharing the good and the bad because that's what makes a person whole." Dale Evans passed away on February 7, 2001, at the age of 88, just 3 years after Roy. Her last days were described as peaceful, with Dale expressing her readiness to reunite with her husband and the children she had lost. Her life was remembered as one of faith, resilience, and advocacy, but also of sorrow and secrets. She had been Hollywood's Queen of the West, yet she never stopped reminding people that even legends carry burdens too heavy to hide. Dale's final confessions left behind a legacy more human than glamorous. Her story proved that behind the curtain of fame, even the brightest stars struggle with regrets and heartbreak. The question remains, should stars like Dale Evans have revealed their truth sooner? Or was it better that she waited until the end?